So, hi guys, what's up? It's me, Dave Pink 243, and I'm here for a game review. I think first one on the channel. It's gonna be great. I hope you guys enjoy it. But anyway, this first review is going to be about a game based off of a movie that I really like. This game is amazing, by the way. It is the Spongebob Squarepants movie video game, released in 2004, published by THQ, and developed by Heavy Iron. This game is fucking amazing! So yes, this game right here, this game follows the movie's plot incredibly well. It follows it very well, and you can't get better than this. Like, this is a great licensed movie game. And as you may see, I have the Gamecube version of this game. There are 3 versions of the game, for consoles anyway. There's also the PC and Game Boy Advance versions, but I'm going to be talking about the console versions of the game specifically in this video. So, released on the Nintendo GameCube, Sony PlayStation 2, and Microsoft Xbox. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie game, it is, if you've played Battle for Bikini Bottom, this game should feel very, very familiar to you. Like, it has the same control scheme, basically. Except I think it's a little bit of an improvement over Battle for Bikini Bottom. Mostly because it fixes up some of the control issues that Battle for Bikini Bottom had. At least I think so. I think it's just me experienced with the movie game a lot more than Battle for Bikini Bottom. Because I had this game when I was a kid. Battle for Bikini Bottom, not so much. Yeah. And actually, I hold this game in higher regard than that, surprisingly enough. Now, don't get me wrong, Battle for Bikini Bottom is a great game, and I'll have a separate review for that. But that's for another time. Like, it's still a great game, but it just has those little bits of things that need to be tweaked. The movie game, it's a little bit more polished when it comes to controls. Like, for instance, actually, before I do, I want to talk about, the cutscenes of the movie game for a moment. Most of the cutscenes in the game are in a slideshow kind of format. It's kind of cheap, yeah, but Heavy Iron didn't really have much to work with because Nickelodeon just wouldn't give them, like too much, because, believe it or not, this game actually came out before the movie. Oh yeah, remember those times where we actually got a movie-based game before the movie came out in theaters? Yeah, those were dark times. Personally, I prefer my movie games to be released after the movie that they're based on. But yeah, this was back in 2004. Not to say that the game is completely devoid of any 3D cutscenes, because There are, it's just that they're sparse. But anyway, I think this game controls better than Battle for Bikini Bottom, personally, because Patrick has been tweaked around, and I like to play as him a lot more in this game than Battle for Bikini Bottom, because I hated that stupid belly slam attack that he had. It just didn't feel right, you know. Instead, he now has like a star spin that is more conventional, per se. And then plus, since they had to give him like another ability to equal out SpongeBob, because if they didn't add another ability to Patrick, SpongeBob would have one more ability than he had. Yeah. But you actually get it like fairly on in the game. It's called the Cartwheel Move, and it's awesome! It's so good. It's a sprint button. It wrecks enemies like no one's business, and it destroys everything. And yeah, when I said that this game follows Battle for Bikini Bottom to almost a T, like I really mean it. Like they use the same graphics engine, the same assets. Basically, they're using pretty much everything that they used in Battle for Bikini Bottom and putting it in here. Just a little bit more polished, and I like it. It's good. Not much else I can say about it. Like, even the shiny objects, which are now called manliness points, they're good. It's just like they build upon the fact that the movie is trying to make up this sort of thing where like everyone can be a man inside. Just remember the quote, "Now that we're men." But anyway, so I said there were 3 versions of the game on consoles. The Xbox version is by far the most rare, as far as I could see. But it is the best version. It has the smoothest frame rate, the best graphics, and it doesn't freeze for a little bit when it's auto-saving. And the same thing goes for Battle for Bikini Bottom, because that game was released on the same consoles. But yeah, if you happen to pick up the Xbox version of this game as well as Battle for Bikini Bottom, and you have an Xbox yourself, yeah, you should have those in your collection. Like that version of those 2 games, they be the best versions. The game has 3 main play styles to go off of. You have the usual platforming levels where either SpongeBob or Patrick have to progress through an area that needs to have platforming in it. And it's very standard. It's a lot of fun. They also take up the majority of the gameplay. And then you have the paddy wagon stages where you drive with the paddy wagon. The paddy wagon's a little bit slippery in terms of control. Like, it's hard to turn sometimes. But you know, it's a good addition. I like the paddy wagon stages, and then there are my favorite stages in the game. The spongeboard stages. And the only reason why I say spongeboard is because that's what the game's manual refer to them as. Most people will just call them slide levels because that's basically what they are, just like you're sliding on something. You're sliding in something, going through somewhere. That's why most people call them slide stages or slide levels. But they're officially called Spongebob levels as far as the game's manual goes. You can actually see a little bit of that here. Yeah, that happens to be my personal favorite stage right there in the game. I really like that stage. And then, as for bosses, it's a little bit pathetic in terms of bosses. There are 4 bosses in total. The first boss is really, really easy. The frogfish, or as the movie calls it, Mr. Whiskers. And then you have your showdown with Dennis. I would say that's probably my favorite boss fight in the game, in terms of both how to beat him and the musical number. The theme that plays for your first showdown with Dennis, it's really something. And then you have a second fight with him, which I think it looks better aesthetically, but the musical track isn't as good. It's still solid, just not as good as the first boss fight's theme, the first Dennis fight. You get what I mean, like, at least in my opinion. And then you have the final boss. King Neptune. King Neptune is the reason why I have not beaten this game yet. Like, it's a really challenging fight, and like I would say that's a good thing because it's a final boss, but yeah, this game is really challenging at some points, actually. Like probably the hardest stage in the game is Welcome to Planktopolis Minions. That stage is absurd. And then, like, you have all these really tough enemies to deal with. Like, you have these Mervs, and the most powerful variations of Foggers and what's the name of that other enemy that shoots a bunch of projectiles at a time? I can't think of the enemy's name off the top of my head. Damn it. But anyway, you have the most powerful variations of those enemies in that level, and they are tough, dude. Like, you also have the most powerful variations of spinners, which is something, I guess. And not to mention, there's like a lot of dangerous fucking hazards just are just placed there, like electrical shocks, like near like walls where you need to jump on them with SpongeBob. It's just like they really threw out the dickish level design for that stage. There are spikes every fucking where. Yeah, a very challenging final platforming stage. Not sure whether to call that a good thing or a bad thing, but I just want you guys to know that, because I wouldn't be a very good reviewer if I didn't mention that. But yeah, this game is also just one of those 3D platforming collectathon sort of things. Like, you heard me earlier mention shiny objects and manliness points. Well, yeah, the manliness points are in this game you collect, so that you can upgrade your abilities, your health for each character. it's good. You get the drift. And then the main collectibles in the game, Goofy Goober tokens, as the game humorously dubs them as. There are, I believe, 68 Goofy Goober tokens in the entire game. It's actually really hard to get all 68 of them. Like, you have some of the hardest challenges in the game. Like, I'm talking like almost impossible level sort of challenge. Like, for instance, you have the Macho Time challenge on the level known as Rock Slide. It is really hard. Like, you have to take every single possible shortcut you could take, and also just have this jump that you shouldn't be able to make in the first place, but the game expects you to do that, even though, like, it's confusing, okay? Like, you have to make this absurd jump in addition to taking every single possible shortcut in the stage, just to make it through, just to make that time. It's really hard, and it's just like, if you fuck up even once, then you have to start from the beginning. Like the game won't do that for you because that's how it is with time challenges. So you have to manually warp back to the stage, and it's just a living hell. Like this game is good, don't get me wrong. It's just that I do have issues with it. Like, there are cons to the game. Like, just like how this game could be really challenging, it just has some really obnoxious challenges trying to get Goofy Goober tokens just to meet the requirements to get new things, or in the last Paddy Wagon Stage's case, Knucklehead McSpazitron trying to get 50 Goofy Goober tokens just to get the Paddy Wagon back. It's not a fun time here, people. Like, it's harder than you may think. Because the later levels really start piling up, the harder to get Goofy Goober tokens. And it's just, it's one of the things I just don't like about this game, but anyway, rant over, back to positive, and the last things I want to talk about are the graphics and the music. The graphics, they look pretty good for the time. Like, you know, it looks presentable in 2004. Like, in fact, it still looks kind of good today. Like, at least on the Xbox version it does, because it has the best graphics. As for the soundtrack, oh my god. The soundtrack in this game is phenomenal. Like, when I say phenomenal, I really mean it. Like, almost every single track in this game is hum-worthy to me. Like, I have them all in my brain, like, hardwired, and they're just all just so jamming. Like, they're just so good. Like, and I think that its soundtrack is better than Battle for Bikini Bombs. And before you give me shit here, guys, like, if you don't agree with me, that's okay. That's okay. Like, if you don't agree with me, you don't have to agree with me. We all have our own opinions here. But I just think that the SpongeBob movie game soundtrack is superior to Battle for Bikini Bombs. like, I just find it more memorable, okay? Like, it's just really, really good. When you have themes like the slide theme, the bubble blowing baby hunt theme, Dennis's first theme, and the final boss theme to boot, like, you can't get any better than this for a SpongeBob title. Like, the music is just so well done. And it's one of the reasons why I like this game more than Battle for Bikini Bottom. Now granted, Battle for Bikini Bottom isn't as hard, and I like it just as much for the not as heavy difficulty. But still, when you have shit like the kelp finds to deal with in Battle for Bikini Bottom, it's when I say, I don't know, man. Like, it's just so close. Like, but I do prefer this game over Battle for Bikini Bottom. Like, me personally, not just from a nostalgic point of view, but from an analytical side of, from an analytical point of view. Anyway, this game is great. I highly recommend it. It's really good for a licensed movie-based game. It's really good, okay? Like, do I need to say anything more? Like, it's early SpongeBob. You can hardly go wrong with early SpongeBob, okay? But, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this little review of the Spongebob Squarepants movie game. And I will bid you guys a very nice farewell for now. It's not often where I would be able to have the time to make these videos, so it would be greatly appreciated for giving me support as I'm making these videos, so that I could provide you with more content like this for the channel, and to just hope that we become like a good community of people. But anyway, that is it.